Secretary to the Prime Minister. Today we have with us the Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell. Seated to his left, we have the Deputy Managing Director of the International Monetary Fund, Mr. Tao Zhang. We have with us as well the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Finance, P.S. Ophelia Wells Cornwall, and to my extreme left, Senior Economist and Mission Chief for Grenada with the IMF, Bogdan Lisovolik. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome one and all. As I said initially, this is a very important press conference. We've had this high-level IMF delegation visiting Grenada for the past few days. They've been having a number of meetings with Prime Minister, with the Minister responsible for climate resilience, with members of the Bankers Association. Yesterday, we had a luncheon that included the social partners and all of the parliamentarians. And really, we have been talking about the various successes that we have had as it relates to management of the local economy and charting the way forward. So without any further ado, Prime Minister, I now invite you to make some opening comments.
Thank you, Press Secretary, and my brothers and sisters of the press. Before I address specifically the issues of today, and of course welcoming the IMF Deputy Director and of course his team, I make the following announcement. Immediately after the press conference, I head to the airport. Basically, I should have been chairing a very important meeting of the Monetary Council of the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank in St. Kitts, which is taking place right now as we speak, as I speak to you. But because of the tremendous importance of this meeting and the visit of the IMF, high-level IMF team, and the specific pluses this country is gaining for what we have achieved, I indicated to my colleagues at the other Prime Ministers and Ministers of Finance that I will join them immediately after this conference, so I traveled to St. Kitts immediately. But just to make the point, we started about 5 years ago under the former governor of the central bank, WeiVybz, an engagement with the social partners throughout the region, with the ministers or prime ministers of the Caribbean. Every other year they have had the same sort of meeting between the leadership of the sub-region and, of course, social partners, which include leadership of the trade union movement, leadership of the business community, the non-governmental community. They have this every 2 years, this meeting in St. Kitts, looking at developmental matters for the region as a whole. I remember the first meeting was highly successful, where we had the leadership of the trade union movement in Grenada, St. Lucia, Dominica, St. Vincent, and speaking to each other with the support of the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank Governor. So I just want to reiterate, and immediately after that meeting finishes today, and tomorrow I chair the meeting of the Monetary Council of the bank, and then I leave by afternoon for New York to speak to Grenadians for the 45th anniversary celebration, which they're having on Saturday evening. I return here on Sunday. So to deal specifically with our item of today, of course, yesterday, for the last 2 days, as the press secretary indicated, we have been engaging our friends on the IMF on some of the major issues related to Grenada's development and where we have come from, and of course where we are today and where we are going. And so we had a special luncheon yesterday in which they had the social partners at engagement, and our Chief Mr. Young spoke extensively on the present condition in the world community and, of course, the region as they see it from the IMF standpoint. And I think it was well received by our friends in the social partners community. So, in addressing the specific issue of where Grenada has come from, I want to say that we have spoken a lot of our country's current fiscal position, the significant job-related growth we are experiencing, and the fact that we are the fastest growing economy in the region. I think this is something that we must be very proud of, because given where we came from 5-6 years ago, and the fact that all independent institutions are now loading the country's successes, we as Grenadians must feel extremely proud. However, to get a true appreciation of the positive economic outlook we have today, we must understand, sisters and brothers, the gravity of the economic crisis we have successfully emerged from. Sometimes it's easy to forget where you have been when things are going right, but sometimes always good to remind ourselves of where we came from so that we don't lose our basic objectives and where we should be continuing to head. Let us look at a snapshot of what existed in 2013. As you remember, Grenada was facing serious economic decline for several years. There was negative growth in the country. There was a huge monthly fiscal deficit, which was about $18 million. In other words, we are spending $18 million more than we earned. And my friends, that is a very dangerous situation that we are facing at the time. 70 cents of every dollar collected in revenue was spent on salaries and pensions. It means that you had little more or no money to pay your debt. So Grenada was owing everybody, and little or no money to build on the productive sectors of the economy, which of course is responsible for the economy's growing, and also to deal with infrastructure, which is fundamental to the quality, improving the quality of life of the people and to doing the things that we must do. So after salaries and pensions and debt payments, and I like the word pensions because that's part of the problem we have to confront continuously. We can't spend all that we have on pensions and salaries, otherwise we won't be able to help our children's education and a number of things that we must do. There was no money left for developmental projects. The unemployment rate at the time was over 40%. There was a high level of unpaid claims in the Treasury, over $110 million in unpaid claims. In other words, local persons who gave service to government, like the business community and others, they were not paid. So it would affect their ability to further develop their institution, the businesses, and at the same time to meet their fundamental responsibility to expand and provide service to the country. Our debt to GDP ratio was over 108%. The existing fiscal policy and management framework was definitely inadequate. This was illustrated through a number of factors, including no policy anchor, a weak medium-term budgeting systems. In other words, the problem of budgeting did not exist really. Insufficient policy buffers, open-ended wage bill management framework, and hiring controls. There were no limits of hiring. Everyone was doing whatever they think they had to do in satisfying the wishes of their constituents or whatever. And an uncoordinated borrowing operations. And you know what that means when you're just borrowing, and you're borrowing without an understanding of what you're borrowing for. This was evidently not a situation to be maintained over the long term, and the government needed to find a way to improve the economic situation in the country. Hence the creation of what we termed then the Structural Adjustment Homegrown Program, with the support of our friends in the international community. And since we have the IMF here today, just to say that this was a homegrown, it was not an IMF imposed program. IMF does not impose program on a country. We won't accept an imposition. IMF supported us, the World Bank supported us, the Caribbean Development Bank and the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, and friendly governments through all around the world. In fact, without the support of the representatives of those friendly governments, as directors of the World Bank and the IMF, without their support, we will not have been able to get where we are today, to get the World Bank to endorse what we were doing and to give us the support. Having a homegrown program, therefore, was important for us to design something that was specifically tailored for Grenada's situation, based on, of course, consultation with the people. In other words, sisters and brothers, if you recall then, we had to engage all our brothers and sisters in the country. We had to bring the trade unions on board because they had to make major sacrifices. Their workers were under pressure already with the economic situation in the country that being that bad. Many workers were being laid off in the hotel industry and all around the country. There were hardly any infrastructure project taking place in the country. So in the face of that, to ask workers to make further sacrifice, it took bold leadership on the part of the trade union movement and, of course, all concerned. Similarly, the business community, under pressure, to have to support these programs that we were asking them to take further deduction from their salaries to meet the conditions for the homegrown program was a sacrifice for every single Grenadian. And even the workers who had no jobs. And that's why I make the point consistently, and you've heard me say it over and over. It's not just those who are working or making the sacrifice. Those who were not working, had no income, were also making sacrifice because we imposed increases in the customs service charge. Some taxes were increased. And they had to buy the goods at the same price those of us who are working had to buy it. In effect, therefore, they were probably making more sacrifice than some of us who had salaries. So I just want to underscore that point. A snapshot of Grenada's economy, therefore, in February 2019 will tell a very serious story and a positive story. Unpaid claims, when compared, as I gave you the figures before, as of February 11th, 2019, at $10 million. That's still high, but it's way down from the $110 million that we had. A significant reduction for in excess of over $100 million in 5 years. Grenada experienced a 6th consecutive year of growth in 2018. And we are poised to experience the same in 2019 or even more. These are not merely government figures, friends. The IMF is here, so we can't tell lies in front of them. Just recently, the Caribbean Development Bank recognized Grenada as one of the fastest growing economies in the region, averaging a growth rate of over 5%. And I do want to make an additional point here. These numbers and the growth rate of over 5% for the last 6 years, 5.5, 6 years, was extremely important and significant. But you know what was most significant? The St. George's University, which represents from its operation about 25% of the Grenada's GDP, had not submitted the annual papers, program work, performance work that they were doing for the last 6 years. They were doing it before I left government in 2008. I don't know what happened after. So you could imagine the Ministry of Finance had to do estimates in coming up with the numbers. And the estimates would be done on historical data, which means it is highly likely that the estimate was lower than what the St. George's University, because we all know the tremendous expansion that has taken place in the St. George's University in the last 5 years. So they are now submitting the numbers from 2012 right up to 2018. So it's quite possible that we'll see an increase, not 5%, but much more than 5% when the actual numbers are given. And of course, we will be presenting that data to our friends regionally and internationally. The growth being experienced is impacting on the population in a very serious way. And the key thing is, it's not just growth. Sometimes you have growth in an economy, colleagues, that some people in the country doing well, some people become millionaires overnight, and therefore it affects the growth of the GDP. But you have people lagging behind with no income at all or hardly can find jobs. But this growth came with its job-related growth, to the point that in 2018 was 40%. We're now averaging about 20%, and it could be lower while I'm speaking to you, because the numbers for late last year and this year has not come in. The debt to GDP ratio also, which was 108% in 2013, is now 62.7%, and it's moving far downwards, and it's projected further to be reduced to 55% by 2020. Remember, the ECCB told us that the ideal thing is by 2030 we should reach 55%. Well, we're not. And Grenada are not waiting for 2030. They said they want to do it before I leave office, so it's going to happen by 2020. So that is highly significant. This puts us on track of surpassing the 60% set by GDP by ECCB for the 2030 deadline. In other words, they're talking 60% by 2030. We're talking 55% by then and lower. What we have now, therefore, is a model that is being hailed by the regional and international institutions. Grenada has been able to achieve significant level of growth while undergoing fiscal reforms. This is unique. Colleagues, here we have a situation where we have been under structural adjustment program, which says we can't do this and we can't do this, we must do this and we must do that. Yet, with that, we are able to achieve the highest growth rate in the region over the last 5 years. What does this says to us? That you could be fiscally responsible and have achieved serious growth and job-related growth. Because there's a perception that you have to do all kinds of foolishness economically and fiscally to be able to have growth. You know, take debt, take loans beyond your ability to repay, and have a quick fix overnight where your GDP shoots up by a serious margin, and 3 years later you can't pay the debt. Makes no sense. We have to be responsible. So the model is unique, and it entails the inclusion of our social partners, our businesses, our churches, our trade unions, who continue to be an important part of the process. We are cognizant of what we have done, as I mentioned just yesterday at the luncheon with the IMF team. Parliamentarian partners, social partners, and we say to them, this journey is far from over. We now have to safeguard what we have achieved. We, those of us today, we have to leave a legacy for our children and grandchildren. We cannot now say because we have achieved where we are, then we go back to do business as usual. Now go and increase wages beyond our ability to sustain it. Just keep hiring people into the public sector and not obtaining sustainable growth in jobs. That does not help us. Try and give everything that you earn, particular pension increases that you cannot sustain. It hurts everybody, including the pensioners. So we have to be responsible. So, finally, government is already keenly aware of the significance of this and the resilience, the fiscal, infrastructure resilience, the financial resilience and social resilience that we must have as a country. Given the vulnerability of small states like Grenada, it is important, therefore, that we accelerate climate-smart development policies and programs by increasing our investment in climate-resilient infrastructure. And therefore, We are already making strides in that direction with the intention to have St. George's become the first climate resilient city in the region. Now, we would not be able to do this. We would not be able to get the international support to do that. We're talking hundreds of millions of dollars of support. The Green Climate Fund and other institutions internationally working with us to achieve this. If we had been irresponsible fiscally and otherwise, we would never get this. The $65 million advance we got from we have agreed to from IDA. We're the only country in the region that has accessed that support. So we're using this to do a number of quite revolutionary decisions and initiatives. This is, to me, crucial. Why this is happening, why are we getting those monies? The $125 million for the water sector that we have got from GCF, and the major programs are going to be talking lots of jobs, a lot of economic activities and so on. That could only have been obtained if because we have done what we're supposed to do. People, it is said, charity begins at home. When you do right, others will come to help you. But if you expect to do wrong and expect that people will just come and support you, it does not work that way. So, resilience, therefore, must be a watchword for us going forward, colleagues, and we need the continued collaboration of our long-standing partners of the IMF to build the type of resilience that will safeguard Grenada's economic future. So in that note, I think I was short yesterday. I was a bit longer this morning. My friend, Mr. Jong, would be now, right, officially?
Yes, Prime Minister. We now invite Mr. Jong to make some opening remarks, and then we open the floor to questions.
Thank you. Thank you, Prime Minister Mitchell. Yes, yesterday I was long, you were short. Today you were long. I will make my opening remarks short. So, dear friends, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It is my great pleasure to be here in these beautiful countries. Indeed, this is my first-time visit to this country, Grenada, and I was deeply impressed by the strong economic performance and the great hospitalities of the people and particularly the government, and including the Prime Minister Mitchell. Everybody knows that the Grenada is a small island economy, but the country is also one of our 189 members. So Grenada is small, but it is big in our heart. And we have kept a very good and constructive relationship with Grenada. And this time, my mission is to enhance and continues that good and constructive relationship with the countries. And we hope we will work together in the futures to build up based on the good performance of the countries, and also based on our very good relationships to continue our joint efforts to make the countries better and to make the future life of the people better. With that, I thank you very much. Of course, we are all very happy to be here in this particular junctures. I think we are still in the period of the celebrations of the country's 45th anniversaries of its independence. Thank you. Thank you very much. With that, I welcome any questions you may have.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jung. Members of the media, the floor, as was indicated, is now open. I invite you, as always, to identify yourself and the media house that you represent before you ask your question. Again, I implore that you stick to the subject at hand. We're discussing the IMF visit here. We are operating within very limited time constraints, so let's please cooperate. Thanks. The floor is open.
Good morning, Cherry and Blackman Stephen, GBN. Mr. Prime Minister, the IMF is basically continuing to guide our economic performance following the 3-year homegrown program. I just want to know how long will it be? There are certain rules that we still have to follow in order to continue to get the benefits. How long would it be before Grenada is able to stand on its own without the support or input from the IMF?
Sharon, I just want to correct the statement that the IMF is guiding our economic performance. They're not guiding our economic performance. We are initiating and implementing our own economic policies. And clearly the IMF, like any responsible institution, internationally or regionally, would be in fact assessing what we have done. So we are going to be unwise to take decisions that can send the wrong message to our friends regionally and internationally, because they will be able to provide support as we seek from them, because they have the resources and the ability to help countries all around the world. So you wouldn't want to do something that you know will in fact send the wrong message of your sense of responsibility of guiding your own future. That is the role of the IMF. They're not here to tell you what to do. They are here to provide support to countries based on your own initiatives and so on and decisions that you have taken. But clearly there's some fundamental. We are responsible for our destiny. We are responsible for the future of this country. And therefore we have to do what we have to do. And that's why I think it's important. There is no period that we have to stop doing what we're doing. If you have a winning formula in anything, whether it's a cricket match, a cricket organization, or badminton, as Mr. John mentioned yesterday, or football, soccer, you won't change your team or change your policies if you're doing well. So Grenada is doing well. We're getting lauded by the regional and international community. Not just the IMF, you know. CDB, ECCB, all countries around the world praising Grenada. We don't want to lose this. So, my friend, it should not end. What we are doing, we continue to do it. It's like any one of us in our own homes. You want to manage your business. You don't want to spend more in your family than you are making, because the end product is somebody might end up owning your house or come in and disrupt your family structure. You don't want to do this. So that's, I hope I clarify this. The IMF is here to support us, not to guide or direct us in anything. Clearly, like anybody else, if they see anything that's that is affecting our image, they would advise us and tell us about those things, and we would welcome any such advice.
We have been doing well economically, as you say. Is there any indication that the fiscal space will allow for any further reduction in some of the taxes that have been implemented?
The question of taxes is something that we have to continuously review. As you know, my philosophy has been consistently, the lower taxes, the better a country. I am not one who believes in high taxation. I believe the more disposable income people have, is the more you will see them use their own initiative to do things for themselves. Government does have to get taxes and to run the country and to provide social and other services. But at the same time, it must be within limits. And you recall, the government that removed personal income tax in 1995 was this government, because of the philosophy we had. But over a period of time, we said we give you enough chance, things will start moving in the right direction. The government needs to have some revenue, so we increase the personal income tax after that. So in other words, I have a history. This government has a history of lower taxation. When we had to increase taxes in 2013 because of the situation we found ourselves in, and we had to get more revenue to demonstrate to others that we're serious about sacrifices, and therefore that we need their help because we have our charity begins at home, then we did it. But you know, we started reduction. So as time goes on, we are prepared to look at further reduction. But as someone who understands the question of taxes and data and science, do not just make decisions just based on how I feel. We will do an assessment every time we move, like we have done recently. We reduced corporate income tax and personal income tax simultaneously by 2% this year. And we are prepared to continue to do so, review whatever we have and continue to do so over a period of time. So that's my position.
Morning everyone, Linda Straker, I'm a freelance journalist. I have a couple of questions. Mr. Prime Minister, you mentioned about the Green Climate Fund, and that's to do with the National Water and Sewage Authority funding that they get. That has to do with grant. Yes. Have we been able to draw down on that funding yet?
Not draw down. Yes, you can. With the Ministry of Environment.
Yes, what we have happening is that we are currently in negotiations because with the Green Climate Fund, in accessing the amount of monies, we have the German government, who is also a contributor to the Green Climate Fund. So we are settling the grant agreement in terms of how the monies are going to flow, and the implementation arrangements. So with the German government, who is contributing 2.5 million euros towards the pool, they are implementing a component of the project. They are partnering with us to implement a component of the project. So just last week, they were on ground to negotiate the implementation arrangements for the particular project. It is our intention to start that project by mid this year.
I am still, I had that, that's why I asked it first. But I'm still kind of lost as to the purpose of this visit. Is it part of Article 4 visit consultation, or it is just a special mission here, and what is expected to be the outcome? Normally after we do this Article 4 and so Grenada gets something is recommended, what is expected to be the outcome? What is the purpose of this delegation here, and what is the expected outcome?
To be short, this mission is not Article 4 missions, and I will pass on to my colleagues on the timings of the Article 4 missions. But this mission is not Article 4 mission. Like I said, the purpose of this mission is try to enhance the good relationship between IMF and the government of Grenada. And of course, this also include enhance our understandings of what's going on in terms of both economic and social development in general.
From your observation, oh, okay.
Just a small remark regarding the Article 4 mission. Grenada, as most countries of the IMF, is on a 12-month Article 4 cycle. As you remember, last year the Article 4 mission happened in early May. We would probably have a similar mission sometime around that time. And that is missions that these are comprehensive health checks. You remember those kinds of missions, and that these are normal, typical missions that the IMF does with all member countries. So this is not this mission, and we are looking forward to preparing an Article 4 mission in the next few months.
Let me just add one point relative to the first question you asked. The presence of Mr. John here today is a clear indication of something. this is the second highest official at the IMF. Number one is Marilyn Lagarde, right? So he would not be here at this level if this was not seen as extremely important for Grenada and for the IMF. There's something positive for both IMF and Grenada from this. They are underscoring the significant success of our program, which means that it's sending the right message to other countries to take initiative to control your own destiny. Sometimes take tough decisions to get your economy into a place that others can support and provide further development and advancement. And since the IMF endorsed our program, gave us the support, and they have to work with countries all around the globe, they are in fact saying that this is also a success for the IMF in a sense, because they were part of the process. So you see what is happening here? A win for Grenada and a win for the IMF.
Just to continue, for clarity, it's a win for Grenada, a win for the IMF. Based on what you just said, I'm getting the feeling that Grenada is being seen as a best practice and probably would be up for recommendation by the IMF. What can we expect? Are we going to get some grant? Are we going to just get some mention in a book? Can we? What is expected to be the outcome?
Well, thank you. Thank you for your questions. You know, throughout the entire world, countries would pursue the best policies to fit their own specific circumstances, and different countries are facing different kind of challenges. In countries like Grenada, these countries also face its own challenges. And many of the challenges have been addressed by prime ministers early on. And if you look at the economic performance, we see the economic performance is quite solid. And this is built on a large range of the strong macroeconomic policies pursued by the government, and of course we at the IMF support the government to take those measures, including some of the tough measures on the fiscal side. And you see that all of these measures already yield a very positive result, and we see there's a good momentum is ongoing. And obviously, if you take a look ahead, the challenges remains, including particularly the how to build, the resilience. Because why resilience matters here, because this is a small island economies, not only quite vulnerable to various kind of the natural disasters, given what we are these days, particularly the climate changes, but also the economies is compared to the continental economies is mostly narrowly based. So we have to look for how to beef up these economic performance in order to weather these risks in case they are materialized. And if you're speaking of these natural disasters, we know this is not necessarily just a possibility. It's a question of when. It's not a question of if. So we have to prepare ourselves well. In the past, what we are doing is, we just respond or be responsive or passively responsive when the natural disaster hit. Now, of course, that's important. We have to respond. We have to be responsive. But more importantly, we realize that we have to move ahead and prepare ourselves in advance. So what we call it, the ex-ante resilience building effort. So that's a core part that we are trying to work together with the government, and including the part on the sound macroeconomic framework. Having said that, this is we think the government and the country is on the right track, and this is the beginning of that. It is not the end of the story, and we hope Grenada can provide a right case so that other countries in a similar situations like your neighbors can draw some lessons learned here, can draw some good experiences here to help them to prepare their work. I think because Grenada is, like I said early on, is one of the members in our big families, and we benefit each other, and we learn from each other. This is not just a matter of one-way flow of monetary terms, etc. But more importantly, the information, the knowledge flows, two-way flows. Sometimes that we provide advice to the countries, and sometimes the countries' experiences show a good way for us so that we can also pass on to our other members. So we all benefit from this relationship. But thank you for that.
Linda, I just want to comment briefly, in addition to what Mr. Young already pointed out. To understand the answer to your question, one has to understand the IMF's own mandate as an institution. So that could be obtained easily. But to point out, because you mentioned, given the fact that it win for the IMF, win for Grenada, whether we'll get additional aid, grant support from the IMF. When the IMF gives great grades to a country and its performance, it sends the message to all other institutions, regionally and internationally. Remember when, before the World Bank met to give us this very soft loan, and IDA and all these loans, the first thing they asked, did the IMF give an unqualified support to the performance of the last period? Therefore, if we had not met those, if we had not succeeded in what we had planned to do and got the IMF endorsement, we would not have got the monies. Similarly, other institutions and countries we must go to and ask for help. They will not help you unless they had some indication that you're performing and conducting yourself responsibly, financially and otherwise. So they're one of the institutions, the key one they would look towards for that sort of endorsement is the IMF. In other words, having the IMF support will yield not necessarily direct grant support from IMF, because that's not the mandate, but direct support will come from other countries and other institutions, regionally and internationally. So it has tremendous opportunities for grant support and other forms of support for our country, but not necessarily directly from the IMF. I hope I qualify this. But Linda, I know sometimes when your daughter or son does something very well, you give them some extra candy or extra. I think that's what you're asking. The IMF doesn't offer it directly like that. Somebody else will give us the candy.
When you are adults, you don't do that.
Sherry and Noel, Government Information Service. Mr. Young, I've got a few questions for you. The first, in rolling out its structural adjustment program, Grenada engaged the social partners. What is the IMF take on this approach? And have you seen it done elsewhere? And part two to that question is, how important is it to consider social elements in rolling out structural adjustment programs?
Well, thank you. That's a great question. I think the social dimension is important and has been increasingly become our focus of attention. and particularly whenever we look at the countries in terms of the economic and structural adjustment which is needed to be made, the social dimension has to be the key part of it, and this also applied to those advice we provided to the government of Grenada, and in that sense, Grenada. It is a perfect case to test that the thinkings, and so far we have seen, or based on our consultation with the government, that the government is also very much sensible to involve all the social stakeholders into the public policies, or whatever the tough measures they're going to pursue. And we see that so far we have a strong success in that regard. And for give you examples, the country established the committee of the social partners, which is chaired by Prime Minister Michel itself. So it's this committee is highly functionable. It's very effective to bring together all the parties involved. In order to gather the maximum of consensus to support those tough measures, I think you have seen that the result is turned out quite positive. And what valued more, of course, this has a direct benefit bring to the country itself. What we valued more is this experiences and lessons learned can be drawn for other countries for their references. But of course, what I'm saying is the issues could. It is country-specific issues, but more importantly, because the issues, the challenges we are facing in this region, particularly this country, is the resilience building, and we consider this issue is not only concerned by these countries, but in general by the countries in this region as well. And also we considered by other countries, small island economies, because they are all facing the vulnerabilities to the natural disasters. And of course, the social dimensions go beyond the resilience buildings. Then it also has implication to many other our members as well. So this is the issues in our opinions. It is not a country-specific issues. It is a regional issue, and to some extent, it's global issue. So we need to build the alliance of actions in this regard. So that's why it's so important. Thank you.
So I have another question for you. The structural adjustment program in Grenada was intended to help the country recover from an economic crisis that it had found itself in. The country has played by the rules and recovered. In fact, as the Prime Minister mentioned a little earlier, it has recorded growth over the last 5 years. Is there a case now for the government to relax the rules and facilitate more spending?
Thank you. We all want to be relaxed somehow at some times. As the human beings, we are facing the choice of work and leisure. But for the countries, I think you performed well. You take, early measures to pull out the countries from the early troubles you are facing. Like some years back. Elaborated by Prime Minister early in this session, you are on the very good right track, and you take some of the tough measures. We keep repeatedly, these measures are not easy. So these measures are tough, and you earn it. You earn it in a hard way. And you ask yourself whether or not this is our time. Take a break, take a breath, because you want to make sure this path is solid. It will go on. It will be institutionalized solidly, completely, and fully accepted by all the parties of the society, and make sure what we have gained in the past can be continuous in the way ahead. So these are the things we think at this moment we still are in the middle of the building process. So there's, in our view, I think we agreed with the government that we should continue what we have been successful in the past and keep the momentum. And we keep on, using the analogies, the cricket games. You are in the good momentums, winning the games. You don't want the moment slipped away by being relaxed. We have to say that as a countries, we're always being alert on. Of course, we are proud of what the achievement has been made. We're always alert of the challenge ahead. So there's no time for us as a countries to take a break. So let's continue. Let's stick to what we have been successful. Let's be ready for the future challenges.
Let me just add a point here. The question was alluding to we can spend more. The IMF in its observation and other institutions in its observation of what is happening in a country doesn't just look at the amount of expenditure. It has to look at your revenue, your ability to sustain the expenditure. So if you're doing better, you clearly can spend more, but you have to spend it where? Are you going to spend it on more persons in the public service or more on things that are not generating revenue or being able to be sustained? That's the problem. So whatever the additional revenue, invest it in the productive sectors, which brings in additional revenue. So it's a win-win for everybody. So it's not just IMF or anyone saying, look, you're spending too much. You could only be spending too much if your revenue that you're bringing in not necessarily matching and having the savings necessary that can in fact utilize helping the social area, for example, the vulnerable in our society, and all these things like this. So I think this is the understand. That's why it's important. We can't relax, but we can spend relative to what we are earning, and depending on where we are investing those particular revenues. So I think that's the issue, and we are very clear. I think our experience of the structural adjustment program was very useful for us. And I make the point to our citizens, and I want to repeat here today. We didn't have to have an IMF program to tell us we are doing wrong, a structural adjustment program supported by the IMF and others. We should have been doing this long before. It is not easy to explain that you're earning $10 and you want to spend 20. You need a structural adjustment to tell you that? Well, we needed one, and we got it. But as long as I'm in government, I ain't going back that road. So that's what I want to assure you guys. Let us all work together and make sure we leave a better country for our children and grandchildren's future. Okay.
Prime Minister, I just want to allow one more question and then we wrap up because Prime Minister has to leave momentarily. One last question.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Nisha Paul with the New Today newspaper. Okay. I'm just following up on questions that were asked by Sherry-Ann and, well, the two Sherry-Anns in the room. Based on the positive growth that we are seeing and the economy is moving and advancing in a manner that we would like, is there a timeline that we're projecting looking at how soon that we can have some type of tax relief. I know Sherian would have asked a question relating to tax relief, but I'm trying to find out if there's a timeline that we're looking at or projecting that we can say, okay, yes, in the next couple of years we can relieve some taxes or something.
We don't even have to wait for a couple of years. I did point out that we did so last year already. Last budget we did some tax relief. And in fact, we did say also we would like to raise the social program, the amount we're giving our elderly citizens to help them to survive, by more monies than we did it last year. We raised it by 100. We want to raise it by more. So it's something that we have to do ongoing. So next year, for example, based on the performance this year, next year, the budget at the end of the year that we will do in December for 2020, if we notice the revenue has been more robust and that we are able to meet our fundamental responsibility, paying our debts and doing our social programs, then we can continue to reduce taxes. The question by how much is dependent on, of course, the data that we have before us. So we have to be responsible. It's not just doing something and say, well, let me reduce it by 20%, by 10%. It doesn't work. So we have to study what we're doing and ensure that we are not going to be marginalized in any sector of the society.
Prime Minister, you have the microphone. A few final closing comments. And then Mr.
Just
John.
to say to Mr. Young that we are highly appreciative of your presence here. We know, friends, Grenadians all, the presence of the IMF team, that high-level team. You will not see the deputy director of the IMF come into Article 4 consultation. That is highly unlikely. So the fact that he's here will almost tell you it's not an Article 4 consultation. We just want to thank him specifically and the IMF and of course all the international and regional institutions. The CDB plays an enormous role in where Grenada is at this, and it's a regional institution. The Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, of which our own governor, our own citizen is governor of, also played a major role in friendly governments around the world. But I want to just thank you, my friend, and the entire team, all of you, for your presence here. Your presence here has enormous significance for this country's future. And we take it with all the sense of hospitality and warmth that we can give you. I hope you had an opportunity to taste every part of it and the spices that we have available. And also, I hope you did get a chance to surf. Yeah. And to enjoy our beach and the pleasantries that we have. I want to thank everybody. Thank you all this morning. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Prime Minister. Mr. Zhang, final comment from you? Okay. Anything in closing?
Very short. Well, first of all, thank you all for coming up today. Then I very much enjoyed my visit and particularly appreciate it for Prime Minister and for the government of Grenada for hosting me and my teams. All I have wanted to say at this moment is the country is doing well. Please continue. We tend to want it to have a relaxing moment, but I think it would be better for us to move on, to stick to what we have achieved, and for that purposes we can refuel ourselves, but not relax. Thank you.
Let me just say this, just to you. I want to say this is one of our better press conferences. The level of the questions, I think, made me extremely proud of. I just want to thank you all. You had some very searching questions, and I thought it was extremely important for the country. Thank you all.
I would like to echo the sentiments of the Prime Minister. Thank you very much, members of the media, for joining us here this Thursday morning for this very important press conference. We'll see you again next time. I am Press Secretary Philomena Robertson. Thank you.
It is said that education is the key to success. The Grenada Development Bank believes this to be the truth. Hence the reason we have made it our prerogative to ensure that your key is in safe hands with us. Here is how you can unlock your success with an education loan from the GDB. We offer you 3 loan options. We've got our regular student loan, our work-study student loan, and our special student loan. Our regular student loan is for persons who wish to pursue full-time tertiary level education. If you are a permanent employee who wish to study while continuing your employment, then our work-study loan is for you. Our special student loan is in collaboration with the government of Grenada, geared towards vulnerable persons who would like to pursue higher level education. Remember, you must have proof of admission from a recognized institution here at home or abroad. All our loans are 100% financing with interest rates as low as 5%. Get your funding from GDB today for your tertiary level education, your technical training or vocational training, even professional development, with up to 12 years to repay. Your future success is today. Grab it now.
This is my time, this is your time, it's the only time to shine. You got to live your life, enjoy your life. Life is good, so good. Have fun, when you're done, you're done. Have fun, under the sun. Forget all your grief, pain and sadness. Oh yes, you are surely blessed. Things can always be worse, but we are just to take the worst and make it the best. Believe in the promise of the future. No human man will never live forever. Life is good, so good. Life is nice, so nice. Life is sweet, so sweet. Life is good, so good. This is my time, this is your time.
And once again, good morning to Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. It is Hard Talk, 17 minutes after the hour of 11 o'clock on the Spine Side of Grenada. Just completed viewing there the closing press conference of the IMF visit to Grenada, checking up on they passing and check up on us, man. Yeah, they passing, they want to know how we're doing and how the economy is doing, and so they held a series of meetings. They would have held a series of meetings. The deputy, let me make sure, the deputy managing director of the IMF, the second most senior person in the IMF after Miss Lagarde, yeah. The second, Mr. Zhao Zhang. I believe I'm pronouncing it correctly. I don't want to be tying up the gentleman's name, but Mr. Zhang. Yeah, so he's here in Grenada. And as was said in the press conference, it's very important that you see the second highest. They didn't just send any low level anybody. Because to them, Grenada is the poster child of how you fix your economy. Yeah, Grenada is the poster child of that. So they've sent the second highest person to Grenada to review the economic performance of Grenada and how Grenada continues on that path of development and growth economically, which will spill over into other areas of development over a period of time.
And I'm sure Christine wanted to come in, but perhaps she just had some prior planned engagements. She would have really loved to come herself.
Don't be surprised we see her pop up in Grenada soon too.
It's possible.
Don't
I mean,
be surprised.
The performance of our country in terms of through the structural adjustment program and where we were and where we at right now is amazing. You know, it's something for us to spread, and the IMF rightly so has been using Grenada as that. What was it right?
Poster child.
Right, the poster child.
You know,
to spread that message, you know.
One very important one the Prime Minister mentioned this morning, man, unpaid claims at the Treasury
10
are
million.
now at 10 million, huh?
From 110, from 110
down
million.
by $100 million.
Wow.
Yes, so unpaid claims on coming into government, and people keep saying, oh, he came into government and he said 90 something and next year 100 and something. Yes, you will, because unpaid claims are bills that have been presented to the government and are unpaid. So if when you come into government, at the point in time you come in today, your unpaid claims would be a specific figure, right? You ain't make any payments on them. Other people realize government changed, time to bring in a bill, because that last one wasn't paying me anyway. I had three inside, and they wasn't paying me like some of the construction companies, the construction material companies.
Suppliers and so.
They had 4 and 5 bills inside, and they realized they ain't getting paid. They say, well, I ain't bringing in 6 and 7. And they realize government changed. This government seems to have the ability to pay, the willingness to pay, and they understand that businesses need to be paid to operate. So they brought in the rest of the bills. So by the time you check, you realize $110 million in unpaid claims in the Treasury. But some people come now and they say, oh, well, the Prime Minister's first figure was 80 something or 90 something, and then all of a sudden he started talking 100 and something. There's a reason that those people couldn't manage the economy, because they didn't understand that simple concept, that it's people bringing in invoices that are owed for services. And what happened again is that there was that spending spree before the 2013 election by the NDC administration. Remember, they started to give all kind of stove and thing here and all kind of thing under this program and energy program here. They're running there and they're doing this and so. So the bills from those programs that were unleashed the few months before the 2013 election by the then government, those bills came in when the NNP came in. So that is why you ended up with that amount of money being owed there.
And on average, I mean, the government has been doing good on an average of at least 20 million per year. When you check it out, that has been paid, and that's significant, eh? I mean, coming in from 2013 up until now, you have seen $100 million, I mean, in unpaid claims being paid, an average of $20 million per year. That's significant.
Yeah.
I mean,
we're seeing the 6th consecutive year of growth. Yes, 6th consecutive year of growth of the Grenadian economy. And by the time they finish, do the figures, and so it might even be higher than they projected to be initially. So we're seeing significant growth, and there are various things driving this. One of them is the construction industry has been driving it up to now. Yes, Silver Sand's finished, but you still have problems in getting cement and so.
And sand.
Yeah, you're still having problems in getting that. But Devon, I think we're supposed to have a visitor sometime this morning, you know.
Yeah, we're supposed to have
a visitor passing with us sometime this morning.
We're supposed to be here already. I think I'm here.
I don't know if the visitor going to come by us this morning. Let her go. Yeah. So we're seeing significant growth and so going on. Eh? So the economy is on the up and up, folks. It is on the up and up. And we've seen that in the well, I nearly said post-cabinet, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I nearly said post-cabinet press briefing there. Yeah, but let me tell somebody happy birthday. Come, Popo. Come. Pull that cherry there. Come, Popo. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
And a happy birthday to you, my dear.
Thank you.
But Devon, we saying happy Valentine's and thing too. Devon is saying you can't, not for the life of you again, Devon to say happy Valentine's.
Yes. For my beautiful cousin, I'll do anything.
Hi Shiloh, how are you?
I'm doing very well.
And how is school going?
School is going very great. I actually just left there to come here.
You run away from school to come by us?
No.
People gonna say that we doing the wrong thing here, you know, we take the child out of school and all kind of thing, you know.
No, but it's a special day. Yeah. Happy birthday to you, my dear.
Thank you. And I also bought presents.
But I thought it was your birthday, so we're supposed to bring presents for you.
Well, it's Valentine's Day also.
Thank you so very much,
my dear.
But yeah, Naz, you go hold that.
Well, you go share.
We will share with Naz. We will share. And we get velvet cake and thing there.
Yeah.
There's a velvet cake and thing inside that, you know?
Thank you very much, Shiloh.
We did. Yes, Shiloh, so how are things going in school? Which classes are your favorite classes and so on? You've made friends. What has been taking place?
Well, I've been doing very well in my math. As we discussed before, that I'm not too well in math, but I've been excelling very well. Wow, today we had a review test on what we did, and I'm confident in myself that I got a 100%.
Wow.
100%.
I didn't.
I'm holding you to that,
I
huh?
didn't get it yet, but I'm praying that I do.
I'm holding you to that. I'm holding you to that.
That's good. That's good, my dear.
So you're enjoying it. All right. And you all have sports coming up. You all had your road race recently?
It was actually like a preview in the stadium. I would say it's like a preview. It was in the stadium, but it was a preview.
Did you compete?
No, I wasn't in the age group because I was 9 then. But today I'm turning 10.
Oh.
Today you're 10.
You are 10
so you could
today.
compete from now on.
Yeah.
All right. Wonderful.
Because I would be competing, but since I'm not in the age group, I'd have to compete with the 4th graders. I have to play with the 4th graders.
How is your dance class going?
I actually haven't been there yet because of
You haven't
school
started the
and
dance class
everything.
yet?
No, but I'm enrolled in it.
Okay. What would you say to another child your age right now? It's nice and sunny outside and all of that, but you've got your schoolwork. And so what would you say to a fellow child like yourself right now?
Actually, I'd tell them that it's just amazing being here in Grenada, and even though you have a hustle up and down and everything, you can still take a moment of your day to go to the beach or relax in the nice sunny weather.
Well, you must be enjoying it now because you're getting the opportunity to go to the beach regularly. Where else have you been?
I've been around the country.
Sulphur Spring.
Yeah, I went in a Sulphur Spring pool. It was actually very amazing. But the part that I didn't really like about it was that when I was stepping to go to the pool, I had some mud on my feet and everything.
But the mud is the best part of the Sulphur Spring.
No, not really.
That's good for your skin.
Not to me.
You don't like the feeling of the mud?
No, it just feels so weird.
Mushy.
At first, I thought it was poop. But then I realized it was mud.
With sulfur.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you have to take it, you have to paste it on your skin. You're not doing.
Nope.
But you're missing
I just
the
put
best.
sulfur on my face. That's all.
But you're missing the best experience. You're supposed to get an exfoliation. You're supposed to take the mud and the sulfur and.
I
all over
really
the
don't
skin.
like putting mud on my skin and everything. I put the sulfur on my face. That's all. That's all I did. And swam around in the pool.
So Shiloh, let me ask you that. Have you been eating lots of oil now?
Nope.
So
Why
people
not?
can't cook oil down.
No, I haven't been. Well, I've ate oil down like 3 times, but I really don't feel for. I'm not in the vibe for oil down recently. I don't know why. I just don't feel the vibe for oil down.
Because somebody has to teach somebody to cook oil down for you to get oil down on a regular
No.
basis. No, let me take the blame this time. I'll say it. Somebody has to teach someone to cook oil down. So, how to peel the breadfruit and the fig, and how to pack the pot.
Nah, she knows.
How to put the callaloo and the different, according to the type you
It's
want.
just that she didn't have all the ingredients.
Let's admit it. She don't know how to make dumpling, ain't it?
She knows how. She makes good dumpling. It was just a little salty.
You see, I tell you, she don't know how to make dumpling.
No, she does.
Let's admit it. She don't know how to make dumpling.
No, she does.
Okay.
It was just a little salty.
Salty dumpling. She looking to give people high blood pressure? Salty dumpling. And, oh, no, but you don't eat meat, do you?
Yeah,
eat
I
meat?
do. I eat meat.
You eat pork?
Yeah.
Don't admit that next to Devon.
No, it's all good. When I was her age, I was eating lots of pork.
Yeah, so
I know,
salt meat with the salt dumpling, so it was a salty pot. So,
Yeah.
Right,
A little bit salty. I was still telling my mom that it was good because it was, I think it was her first time. I don't know. But making it for me, it was her first
She was avoiding, you got fig? Green fig?
Yes.
So she learned how to peel green fig now? Okay, right. Yes. You teach her how to peel yam and thing just now too. You teach her that dasheen and all that. You teach her that, right?
She knows that. She knows how to do that. She grew up in that, that wonderful family structure. So she knows that.
Shiloh, you were. Now she's a country girl. I'm just kidding. She's a country girl. You were at the independence celebrations. What did you enjoy about that?
Independence. I didn't go to a...
You didn't go to the Independence Parade?
No,
but you
I
went
didn't.
to some of the Independence activities before at the school, and so you didn't take part in Independence?
I can't remember.
I thought I saw you in Independence.
Wait, what?
Nah, but I see an eggshell. I thought I saw you in Independence, you know.
Really?
Ah.
Wait, the Independence Parade?
But for Independence, at your school, did they have a function at your
Oh
school
wait,
for
yes,
Independence?
yes. Now I remember. So on Independence Day, we got to dress up nicely and everything, and you know me, I like to go all out and everything.
Yes.
So I put on a French and Grenadian-based outfit. French, African, and Grenadian-based. Wow. So that's from our culture. I had a French-based top, a Grenadian dress. I had a wrap around my head that was African-based.
Nice.
And African earrings.
But since
fully represented.
Since we started talking about the dress and so, little Miss Grenada, you know if anything is taking place this year? You haven't heard anything yet?
Well, I know that my auntie Jermaine, also known as Superstar, is putting together the show, but I don't know all of the specific details yet. But when I do, I'll be sure to broadcast it. To be telling everyone.
Wonderful. All right, Devon.
Well, hey, I can't ask more. Just delighted, seeing her and being around her. It's amazing, you know. But one thing though, we concerning the school and so, now that you're settling down, and so what is your goal? What do you really want to achieve as you continue your school, and so
Well, really, I want to get A+ on all of my grades. But if I can't reach that yet, I want to get all A's on all of my subjects.
Wonderful.
Now today is Valentine's Day.
And today is Valentine's Day.
And today is her birthday.
And today is her birthday. What a wonderful day.
So today is a day about love.
Yes.
Okay. What do you know about love? You're 10 today, so you had to talk. Right now, you're past the stage of single digit. You're to double digits right now.
That's what me and my mom kept on saying. I was like, I'm going to be a double digit. I'm going to be a double digit.
You know, after this, you have to basically make 90 years to change from a double digit, right?
Yeah,
you have to add 90 on top of this because then you could get to triple digits. So,
triple digits?
Yeah, 100.
100.
Oh, yes.
Yes, you have to add 90 onto this to get
I want to live forever.
Oh, that's good. That's so
we can live forever in people's memories if we do the right things. Yeah.
True.
Also, if you do some really nasty things, you live in people's memory. Because Hitler living in a lot of people's memory.
Yes.
Mugabe living in a lot of people's memory, and a lot of people living in. But love. Today's the day about love.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's why I came here. I'm just here to talk about love.
But do you think that Valentine's has just become another excuse for people to spend money?
No, I don't think so. Because I believe that love should be celebrated not only one day in a year or in a holiday, such as in Valentine's Day, a birthday, or Christmas. I think that it should be celebrated every single day you wake up, every single day of your life. And it doesn't have to be to your family member only. It could be to just a person you meet on the street by opening the door for them, or by giving them a compliment by saying, "Hello, ma'am, your hair looks very radiant today," or "Hello, sir, I love your tuxedo."
Zingo, leave us alone, please. Zingo, leave us alone. So yeah, love is about that. But what type of love?
Well,
You think there are different types of love?
yes.
Mm-hmm.
According to, I read the Bible most of the times, and according to Genesis chapter 1 verses 3, Corinthians chapter 1 verses 3 verses 13, it says that love is patient, love is kind, love is not being jealous of others, but being grateful and being appreciative.
do you think love can solve a lot of the problems that we see happening around? How?
Yes, because it gives a domino effect. Say, like, if you have a stack of dominoes on the table, right? And you flick one, all the rest of the dominoes go down too. But let's reverse that. And if we bring love into the world, as I said, it will create a domino effect. And all those dominoes go down, all those dominoes will come back up. If we bring love into the whole world.
No, we see, for instance, we see Trinidadians. They love Mr. Killer's music right now, but they also love being the international soca monarch champions. So you think if they open their hearts a little more, that we may see Mr. Killer coming home to the crown? You know Mr. Killer, you have met him before,
yeah.
innit? You've met Hollis
many
before.
times. Many.
He's supporting him?
Yeah.
1,000,000%.
When me and Mommy were watching it, because it was on Facebook Live, Mommy was going crazy. She's like, yeah, go Killer, yeah, go Killer.
Well, we'll be having an activity. There'll be an activity on the night of International Soca Monarch. It's going to be taking place in Beaujeu. And they're not going to have a big screen. They're not going to have a large screen. They're going to have a massive screen. And it's going to be up with the DJ system and so. We're going to lock everything down properly so people don't try to run with it. And we're going to have a wonderful time up there. That's going to be the night of the International Soca Monarch. So I'm hoping that you get the opportunity to come by. Because it's going to be a Friday night, so you don't have school the next day.
Yeah, so you don't have school the next day.
It's going to be a fantastic Friday. So you won't have school the next day.
Shiloh, we have asked you a number of questions, but we have not asked you what is the grade that you're currently in your school?
The grade?
Yeah, what grade or what class?
5th grade.
The 5th grade.
I could never get this grade.
So you have what, one more grade to go before you do the CPA?
Yeah.
And so, wow.
Oh, so you should be doing that exam next year.
2020 or 21?
Next year.
Next year.
But we're getting an exam in June. Some kind of exam in June.
Yeah, I think that's the assessment.
Yes, and then the following year. Yes, supposed to be next year.
Yeah, because my son is doing it next year.
Next year.
He'll be 11 in August.
So next year.
And he's getting ready for GBSS next year, September.
Yeah. So what
no, we ain't playing that. That's where you're going.
What secondary school would you like to attend on achieving that? Because I expect for you to be the island scholar.
Shiloh, you can't go to GBSS. We just
no.
You know, you can't.
No, I mean if GBSS was still boys and girls.
Yeah, back in Hannah and them days,
I
you
would
could
root for that.
Yeah.
So which one of the school after you become the island scholar, which one of the secondary schools in Grenada you would like to attend?
Well, right now I'm in primary school. I want to go to Westmoreland Senior School.
Okay, all right.
Because right now I'm in Westmoreland Junior School.
Okay. That's a good school.
So I just want to keep on going on until
college
and university.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. So that exam is coming up. So you understand the importance of that exam and that you have to focus a lot.
Yeah.
Coming down to it, you're gonna have to not be able to play so much. No unicorns. No unicorns. 1 year of no unicorns. Because you have to start the preparation now. I'm preparing my son right now for it. I have him doing weird stuff like reading the dictionary. Yeah.
Reading the dictionary?
Yeah. I used to read the dictionary at your age. It's important because it builds your vocabulary and it increases your knowledge of words so that you have a choice of words that you can use to have a conversation.
True.
So instead of using one word, you have a plethora of words that you can use instead of that. And it also helps you for when you're writing. For instance, if you're doing poetry or you're doing creative writing, it helps. So I actually have my son reading Webster's dictionary. I wish I had an Oxford dictionary, but I can't find one, so I have to use the Webster's. Yeah, not that the Webster's is bad. I just have a thing with the Oxford dictionary.
The Oxford is more.
Yeah.
Elaborate more, gives you more.
So that's something you may want to do in and between. Take some time and go through maybe 2 pages at a time and get the words, the correct spelling, the correct pronunciation of the words, and also the meaning of the words. And it will help you further down. For instance, if you get a question when you're doing the CPA, you may get a question and you may not understand it because there's a word that you didn't understand. But if you're going through words over a period of time, you would understand it.
Usually when I meet a word in school that I've never come across before, well, maybe I've heard it, but I don't understand the meaning of it, I usually look in the context in which it's used, even in math, not just English. Sometimes I don't understand the word, but sometimes I just start to pray, or sometimes I just keep on reading, and boom, I found it out.
Yeah, and one of the other things you can start doing is start breaking up words. One of the things I found helpful to me as a child was that because I used to read the dictionary, sometimes I would meet a word that for some reason I hadn't met up before, but seeing the first part of it, you understand the context in which it is.
Yeah.
Whether it's a feminine or masculine, whether it's in relation to animals or whatever it is, or whether it's in relation to science or whatever, that you, because of the first part of it, you could basically start to figure out what that word means.
Yeah, and
But
the
your
first
area-
time that happened to me, I got so shocked. I'm like, how do I know this word now? But before I never knew it.
You're interested in doing the spelling bee? You're afraid of the spelling bee competition?
I'm not.
It helps. It helps.
No, but I'm brave. I'm brave. I'm not shy as I was like when I was younger.
Like when you were 9.
When you were shy.
No, I
Lou.
wasn't shy.
When she was shy, Lou. Yeah.
I wasn't shy at 9
Shy
that
Lou.
much. But it was like when I was 7, I was like not super shy, but I was pretty shy. And now I'm braver, but there's just something about the spelling bee, like I must spell it out, and so many people in front of me staring and gazing in my eyes, and I have to.
You don't have to look at them. There's no rule that says you have to look at them.
I know, but I have to spell it out loud, and if I get it wrong.
Oh.
There's no rule that says that you have to look at them. You could look at your hands, and look at your fingernails, and look at your pen, and you spell it out. Yeah, so but that's important. That's important. You've got 1 year in which to prepare yourself. The CPA is usually what time, Devon?
It's around April, somewhere around April, I think. Yeah.
April, May?
April, May.
Okay.
Yeah, May. Right after Easter, coming up there, yeah.
Going there, okay.
So, yeah.
Which means I have 1 year of intense
1
preparation.
year of intense preparation.
My son is the opposite to you in that his thing is that he's very strong on mathematics, but he is weaker when it comes to language. So he's very strong on mathematics, especially mental math. He could work the sums out, he could work his math out without writing it down. But when it comes to language, I think his brain operates a little too fast. Probably goes a little faster than it should. So he has problems sometimes putting things together. But I'm working with him in relation to that. So it's between you and him for Island Scholar next year. So you have competition. You have competition. So if you strengthen your math and he strengthens his English,
that's
then
a tie.
yeah, it's a competition, huh?
Yeah, that's
it's
a tie right
competition.
there.
Yeah, it's a
But I
competition.
find that English is just a breeze for me. Like, no problems at all. Maybe I'd have the incorrect spelling sometimes, but everything's fine, like super tight.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Well, the way how you explain yourself and you bring out your words.
Articulation.
Yeah, you can articulate. Ooh, you're good.
Thank you.
Congratulations, my dear.
What we said before, it's Valentine's Day, and we're speaking about love and all that sort of thing. And who do you love?
I love the world.
You love. That's the answer. All right.
That's it.
Folks, it was good having that program there today, and we get it. We're done. We had to say nothing there again.
Nothing again, yo. It's love the world.
And why? You must have a reason why you love people. Why you love?
I love people because I love myself. I love who I am. And if you love yourself, you'd be able to appreciate and accept other people as they are. And
So you can't love people if you don't love yourself.
you cannot.
So you have to love yourself first.
Correct.
Okay.
And I find that without love, we wouldn't be here today. Without love, I probably wouldn't be brave enough to come here.
How do you love yourself? In other words, how does a person know that they love themselves? And we're going to take a few calls in a little while, huh? But how does a person show that they love themselves?
I believe that the ways in which a person loves themselves is by being able to notice what makes you angry. What makes you angry? What makes you mad? What problems you have with yourself, and if you can actually tell another person, then you can fix that and be able to love yourself.
So that means that you have to treat yourself properly. You have to do things that are important to your own development. And so let's take a few phone calls because some people would like to speak with you.
Good morning and welcome.
Hello?
Yes, good
Hi,
morning.
good morning.
Good morning.
Yes.
Morning, you're alive. Go right ahead.
How are you?
Quite fine.
Yes. Happy birthday to my little, what is her name?
Shiloh.
Shalom.
Thank you.
Well, Shalom, happy birthday to you, baby. Oh, God, Brother
Thank
Sheldon
you
and
very
Brother Devon.
much.
No, you can't tell me that child on the out already. And she come back now. She was on the out already, Brother Sheldon and Brother Devon. Darling Sheldon, how you do, sweetheart?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for asking.
Fine. So, you're very, very, very well. And that, I love you, baby.
Thank
Lord
you.
of mercy. Brother Sheldon and Brother Devon, are you take good care of that child for me, please?
Yes, we will.
Please, please, please. And can I sing a happy birthday for her, please?
Miss Jacob, you know, usually doesn't allow singing, but go ahead.
Go ahead.
You know, usually Hard Talk does not allow singing.
But only for that child alone, nobody else.
First and last, go right ahead.
Okay,
in all the 7, 8 years of doing this program, I never allowed it.
Brother Sheldon,
go ahead,
and Brother Devon, give her a lovely kiss for me.
No, you go ahead, sing a song. Go ahead.
Okay, darling. God bless
Miss Jacob.
you, Shirley.
Miss Jacob.
Hi, dear heart.
No, I say you could go ahead and sing it, Shiloh. Go ahead. I say you could go ahead and sing it.
Go ahead and sing it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to Shiloh. Happy birthday to you. May the good Lord bless you. May the good Lord bless Shiloh. May the good Lord bless Shalom. May the good Lord bless you. How old are you now? How old are you now? How old are you, Shalom? How old are you now?
we Papa, all my speakers wet.
You want to respond there?
Thank you, and I'm 10.
All right,
Miss Jacob, get away today.
Yes, Miss Jacob.
No, that does not allow
special occasion.
Yeah,
yes.
you know usually 8 years never allow it. Allow it for Shiloh. All right. 440-7377, that's the number for you to call and get on the inside.
Yes, give us a call and 347-329-3101.
Yes, and we are getting, let me see, Patsy, she's saying, happy birthday to you, Princess. Natalie Lamming, she's saying happy birthday to you as well,
Thank you, Natalie.
And hey, Deepo must step in as well. So he's saying goodbye. I think we have a caller on the overseas line.
Good morning and welcome.
Hello.
Good morning.
Hi, this is Natalie Shiloh calling from New York. I'm calling to tell you happy birthday all the way from New York, and we miss you and we love you.
I miss you guys too.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Wow.
We know you're missing them, but you're not missing the snow, are you? Yeah, they've been having snowstorms, temperatures, Arctic freezing weather. You're not missing that, are you?
Nope.
Yeah. Oh God, 4407377. I think I just missed a call there. And
347-329-3101.
yes, we have roughly about 11 minutes remaining on today's program, so you can call in. You can call in. Earlier we had that press conference. Prime Minister was on this morning, and the economy of Grenada, like Grenada, is doing well. And we had people coming from overseas. They've come here, and they are trying to use Grenada now as a model to other countries of what you should do. So they're saying Prime Minister Mitchell and the government and the people of Grenada, not just the government, the people, all of us, we've done so well that everybody else should follow us.
That's amazing. You see, that's what happens when you have love.
We have a call online.
Good morning, Dave.
Good morning.
Cheryl, good morning, Cheryl.
Good morning.
Cheryl, happy birthday to you.
Thank you.
And Cheryl is so correct. To love people, you must love yourself. Alright? I feel so proud of you as a young lady. Keep your head on and looking forward to the future of your development.
Thank you
have
very
a wonderful
much.
day. God bless you. You all, and Devon, Sheldon, and your family. God bless you. You have a
Thank you. God bless you too.
And I think that we do have, yes, I did hear another one.
Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Mr. Devon.
Good morning, my dear.
How are you doing?
Oh, not bad at
I'm
all.
Mr. Scott.
Hi, morning.
Just calling to say happy birthday to Chilo. Yes. And I want to know if she's doing her show this year.
Well,
we'll get more information for
you. As I said, when I get more
birthday,
into
darling.
the details, thank you.
How are you doing?
I'll be sure to spread the word.
Are you doing your show this year?
Okay, I think she's listening by the radio. So we'll just, yes, my dear, go right ahead, tell her, Shiloh.
Yes, as I said before, I'm not sure about all the details, but when I get all of them, the specific ones too, I may be able to give you a little juicy one.
4407377. Yeah.
347-329-3101.
You got 9 minutes to call in.
Give us a call. It's a double dose. It's Valentine's Day and it's Shiloh's birthday. All right?
Camille Teresa Scott.
Yes.
I know that you're listening.
Morning, Cammy.
I can hear your radio from up here. Yeah. So I know that you're listening. And all the busmen down there on the terminal, we say a special good morning, carrying Grenada's precious cargo from one location to the other. Yeah, holding the lives of our people in their hands on the nation's black carpet. So we say a special, glorious Grenadian good morning to each and every one of you as you continue to show love to each other and to the nation.
Always.
Yeah? Continue to show love. So Shiloh says we must love ourselves if we have to love ourselves before we can love other people.
And remember that it's not only on a holiday you should show love. Every single day you wake up, and it doesn't have to be a big party. It doesn't have to be something so big the whole world needs to know. It's just a simple act of kindness, because as they say, a simple act of kindness can go a very, 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 very long way.
We have a caller on
Good morning. Good morning. Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Yeah, I just want to say hi to Shiloh.
Hello.
Hi. Shiloh, you don't know me, but I know your dad and your grandma. Your dad was home by me last year, August, for my mother's death. So, I don't know her. I don't know you, but I know her.
You will get to know her very soon.
I don't know you, but I know him. And his mother, Dora. Isn't that right?
Yes.
Isn't that your grandma's name, Dora?
Yes, Dora.
All right. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay.
All right. Yes, indeed. Yeah, 4407377, now 6 minutes Down to the hour. Yeah, boy. Line time flight
So
this
I went
morning.
from 11 to 9 and to 6.
Well, you're heading to 11 now because you're going to be 11 this time next year.
Yes.
So yeah, so we're heading to 11 now.
By this time next year, you will be in full gear preparing for CPA. Yeah, that's good.
Yes, indeed. 440-7377. 440-7377. It's a question I got to ask and it just jumped out my head, Devon. Yeah, somebody sent something to me there. It just made it jump out of my head. And I love everybody. I love everything. I hate the things people do. I do not hate people. I always say that. I will hate something that someone has done. I may hate something that someone has said. I do not hate the individual. I have never known myself to wish that somebody dies or something bad happens to people. I think when you spend your time on that, one, it makes you get old quickly. Two, it tends to happen to you instead or to somebody that you love instead.
True.
So there are a lot of people out there that sometimes they wish bad on others and they wish things to fail and people to fail and so on. And what ends up happening is that they spend so much time focusing on trying to make somebody else fail that they don't have enough time to build anything and be successful.
True.
So you have people like, okay, let's say two people are having a business. One person has a business next door to the other one. And one person is spending all their time trying to make the other person's business fail. They're throwing things in front of their business. They're leaving their garbage on the person's doorstep. They're telling people don't go to that business place and buy anything. They're trying everything to stop that person from making money, that they didn't spend time cleaning up theirs and painting theirs and stocking up theirs and building a clientele. So while the other person might survive, they fail. So that's why I don't hate anyone. I've never in my life had hate in my heart towards a single individual. Hate what people do, hate what people say, but I don't hate people. Never hated people. And I love animals, especially dogs. I love dogs. I love dogs.
Thank you.
I think I'm making a case for something here. I
He's
didn't realize.
making a case
I didn't
for you,
realize I was
right?
helping make a case for something.
Do you have any pets, Shiloh?
Actually, yes. Natalie, that called, the caller, that's actually my stepmother, and she lives with my father. And on last year Christmas, 2017's Christmas, yes, he brought in a dog, a little puppy. Her name is Mindy. She's a snow dog, and we love her very much, especially my little stepbrother. He wouldn't leave her alone.
I think we have a caller online.
Good morning and welcome. Good morning.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, good morning. You're live. Go right ahead and listen to us on the phone line. Go right
I
ahead.
just want to say congratulations and happy birthday to this
Thank
young
you.
girl you have on your radio. This child, she's really a prodigy. I mean, I listened to this young child for a while. I've been listening to you guys for a while, and I listened to this young girl, and she has the potential to be a great person. I just hope she keeps along that line. She has great ability. And I wish, hello?
Yes, we're listening to you. Go ahead. We're listening to you. You go right ahead.
Yes, okay, yes, I'm continuing. And I really do hope that some other radio host could be listening to this young child. Because, only last night I was listening, and I don't really take time off to listen, but there is that radio program from 6 to 10 on GDN in the evening. And it's really, it's people's want. Any reasonable Grenadian, anybody who loves the country, would hardly want to participate in that program. And these people cannot realize, or they are not realizing, that it is the same group of people who call night in, night out. Nothing, they could see nothing good in the eyes, right? Nothing is happening for Grenada. Nothing good is going on in Grenada. Nobody who is at the helm, right, is doing anything good. Cannot do anything good for them. What a shame. It's really, it pains me.
Lack of love.
People day in, day out, night in, night out. And it's hypocritical. I'm not saying that people cannot criticize. They could critique, and they could point out the flaws and to make recommendations as how we could go about solving some of our problems. But nothing positive would happen for these people, even if the same people who they gave credit in the past, who are responsible for doing certain measurements, economic measurements, maintaining certain standards and evaluating and so on. They took credit from them in the past, but now we shouldn't listen to them. What they are saying is not valid. They cannot see it trickling down in the economy, and they don't see this and they don't see that. And that economic growth or GDP is not really a reflection of economic growth and all sorts of things you hear. I'm just saying this to say that I do hope that our people listen and evaluate. We are living right here in Grenada, and those Cassandras who are painting pictures of doom and gloom, who are not living here, those who are living here, I just hope they do not listen to these people. Because, I mean, it's an insult right to the very eyes. We are living here and we are seeing what's happening. And we are not saying that we are perfect, but a lot of progress has been made, right? But these people, for them, they would never give credit where credit is due. I just want to stop here, Sheldon.
All right, thank you.
You know, and I think
it's all about the same thing. You know? It's all about
love. Lack of
because
love.
If
That's
you,
what they don't have love.
If you have love for your country, you would not be wishing bad for your country.
And your countrymen.
That you have sports where I'm sure you have a lot of little friends who would love to participate in some sports.
Yes.
And you would, if you have love for children and you have love for your country, you'd want to see them have the opportunity to enjoy themselves and have a sports. But you have people that are against it. They don't want government to have a sports. They don't want a sports. You have people that wish that teachers would just all go on strike and there'd be no school and all these sort of things. And it's because they don't have that love. And you know, I've often heard Prime Minister, both privately in different circles, speaking about this topic of love and a lot of the things that he learned from his mother. And I don't know if you've ever met Prime Minister's mother. You've ever met her?
No.
Your mom should really take the opportunity to get you to meet the Prime Minister's mother. She's a lovely lady, Mrs. Muriel Mitchell. She's a lovely lady, and she has a lot that she can teach you. And she said something last year. I was listening to her one of the times she was speaking, and she said she has never gone to bed upset or angry with anyone. And she's 90, she's in her 90s. I don't know exactly which
Close
one in
to
the
95,
90s. She's in her 90s right now.
95, yeah.
Still very active, still very energetic and so on. And she says that part of the reason that she's lived this long life and this healthy life is that she has that mindset. And Dr. Mitchell also has this mindset. There are people that try to give this impression of Dr. Mitchell as this person that, oh, he hates this one and he hates that one and so. But Dr. Mitchell can go to bed at night and sleep for the entire night. He doesn't have that hate. He doesn't go to bed upset and vexed because of this person and vexed because of that person. He always says that love is a very important component. That's why someone would leave St. Patrick at 4 a.m. in the morning to try to reach down to town to come and see him because they know that he cares and he understands. And if we all take that approach, we can make Grenada a much better place.
Yeah.
A much, much better place. Just to care about people. Yeah?
And as the caller, the man who was speaking on the phone, he talked about the people in the past. As I said before, the domino effect of love. And as you said, if we have love for our country and for certain people, we would all rise up and we would see things going better. But if we don't have love, then everything would start to go down. And as I said, with the domino effect, if love happens, I'm sure 99% of us have never seen this before. And I don't think that it's ever happened, but I'm just talking, not in physical form, right? But if there was a stack of dominoes, you would see it going down because you flick one. But I'm speaking with love, and that if we all have love for a certain person, everyone in the world, these dominoes who are people would start to rise up, and then you would see our country and the whole world, because as you said, there are some people coming across sea, tourists taking pictures of the island and posting it and everything, talking about how much of a great example it is for other countries. The whole world actually would be a better place.
Yes, indeed. Folks, we have to wrap it here, and we'll give Shiloh the final word.
Final say.
Yes, Shiloh, so the floor is open.
I want to say thank you for all those people out there who are wishing me the best. I wish you the best because of love and because of the love in my heart. And I want to thank you so much, Cousin Devon and Mr. Sheldon Scott, for having me on the show.
Well, you know, our door is always open to you, Shiloh, and you're always welcome in our studio. All right? Folks, that is all the time we have for today for Hard Talk. So from myself, Sheldon Scott, and
Devon Romain,
and
Shiloh Alexander,
and the other people who hiding in the background in the studio. Don't worry, I was just joking. And out a peel figure and yeah, man, thinking this. St. David, they're from. They must know how to do them kind of thing. We don't play that in St. David, you know. Yes, that's all the time we have for today. And our technical operator, Mr. Nazim Benjamin, we'd like to thank you so very much. Had him quite busy for the day today, man. Poor Naz. Yeah, so we'd like to thank you so very much. And to all the callers and listeners of today's program, remember, we'll be back, God's willing, tomorrow with more Hard Talk for you. So in whatever you say and do it safe and secure. I want to be speaking to and with you.
And not about you. Love is the answer.
And remember, everyone, if you love yourself, you can love other people.
Yes,
indeed. What a beautiful way to end.
So we are out of here.
Bye.
Get all that's happening with the new national party, NNP. Send us a message via text or WhatsApp on 405-8683 with your name, email, and constituency. Stay in the know with NNP. Get updated.
Government pension. What are the facts? Are all public workers entitled to pension? Are public workers owed gratuity? Here are the facts. Fact 1. The Pension Disqualification Act of 1983 was validated on April 21, 1985 by the democratically elected government led by former Prime Minister Herbert A. Blaise. This means that public workers employed after February 22, 1985 are not legally entitled to a pension from the government of Grenada. Fact 2. The judgment in the Hermelin Armstrong case does not create legal precedents for the reinstatement of pension to public workers employed after February 22, 1985. The judgment created a legal precedence only for those workers who joined the public service in a pensionable post between April 4, 1983 and February 22, 1985. There were 56 such workers. The government restored pension to those 56 workers in 2018 at a cost of $7.7 million. Fact 3. All officers employed in a pensionable post who joined the service after February 22, 1985 are not legally entitled to a pension from government. They are only entitled to a pension from NIS once they meet the necessary requirements as per the NIS Act. Fact 4. The Cabinet's decision in 2016 to reform pension is rooted in moral and social justice principles, and it is not a legal obligation. Therefore, any agreement on pension is a win for public workers. Fact 5. The MOU signed between government, the unions, and the staff associations in February and March 2018 stated that the pension regime which will be implemented must be affordable and sustainable. Fact 6. The proposed pension regime for public workers employed between February 22, 1985 and December 31st, 2018, as stated in the MOU, is a non-contributory pension plan. Therefore, no deductions will be taken from workers' salaries to finance their pension from government. Pensioners also benefit from any future negotiated salary increases. Fact 7. It was agreed by all parties that a worker's annual pension would be a minimum of 70% of their final salary to be paid jointly by the NIS and the government of Grenada. Fact 8. Government is not obligated to offer an advanced pension payment, commonly called a gratuity. Government has proposed to make an advanced pension payment of 2% of full pension, an amount it can practically and reasonably afford given its current and projected revenue stream. It should be noted that an advanced pension payment is a non-interest-bearing loan that the government grants to the pensioner, which must then be repaid in equal monthly installments in the form of a reduced monthly pension over 12.5 years. Fact 9. Under the proposed 2% advanced pension payment or gratuity, retirees will be entitled to a higher monthly pension than if a larger advanced payment was given. Fact 10. If the government accommodates any higher rate of gratuity, the implications would be severe for the country, as this will translate to higher taxes such as VAT, income tax and property tax, higher import duties, the possibility that hundreds of millions of dollars in grants would be lost, lower expenditure in critical areas such as healthcare, agriculture, roadworks and youth development, retrenchment of workers. These are the facts. Government is committed to an amicable resolution to the pension matter for the good of all Grenadians.
High-level IMF team commends Grenada for prudent fiscal management. We'll have details to this story and more in the national report. Welcome back with the details to the news for today, Wednesday, February 13th. I am Rikisha St. Louis. The government of Grenada has received the high commendation for prudent fiscal management from Deputy Managing Director of the International Monetary Fund, Mr. Tao Jung, who is currently visiting the country. At a luncheon hosted by the government, Mr. Jung said Grenada has recorded significant breakthroughs in its economic challenges. Grenada's authorities have done remarkable things in bringing down debt and leaving better public finances for future generations. He says these important gains are a national asset and a product of the hard work of all Grenadians. They deserve to be protected. The IMF official noted that the policy of fiscal discipline instituted by the current administration, supported by the Fiscal Responsibility Law, helped to break a pattern of high debt and low growth.
After the deep economic crisis 5 years ago, your government decided on a policies of fiscal discipline, and supported by the Fiscal Responsibility Law, which is, I think, is passed by the Parliament. All of these have helped break the pattern of high debt and low growth, and this fiscal adjustment helped cut the deficit by almost 10% of GDP. That's a tremendous progress. And in terms of public debt, the country's public debt has been cut or reduced from 108% of GDP in 2013 by more than 40% point by now in just 5 years short period. And despite fears that such a large fiscal adjustment would hurt the economic output, growth in Grenada has actually averaged 5.5% annually during the same period. And this obviously compares favorable with other countries in the ECCU regions and the Caribbean as a whole. And crucially, the government's strong effort received broad backing from domestic shareholders and through the negotiated social compact. In that, I should congratulate Prime Minister Michel and also the Parliament members joined together to achieve that.
Notwithstanding these positive developments, Mr. Jung said there is need to focus on building resilience and added that the focus on post-disaster recovery should be supplemented with better all-round preparedness. Prime Minister Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell also underscored the importance of building resilience.
As a small island developing state vulnerable to the effects of climate change, it is important for us to accelerate climate-smart development policies and programs by increasing our investment in climate-resilient infrastructure. In fact, Grenada, as you would have heard, is making strides to have St. George's become the first climate-resilient city in the region. We are proven to be pioneers in many respects and a model for others to follow. With the lessons learned from the devastating impact of Hurricane Ivan in 2004, Grenada has become a regional frontrunner in building resilience to climate change and natural disasters. Our efforts to successfully incorporate disaster relief provisions, including hurricane clauses, into some of our loan instruments are well documented and serve as a model to be emulated by others.
Prior to Wednesday's luncheon, the IMF's Deputy Director and his delegation had a meeting with the Prime Minister and Minister for Finance, along with the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Finance, Mrs. Ophelia Wells Cornwall, and other representatives from that ministry. The IMF team also met with the Minister responsible for climate resilience, Senator Simon Steele. They also had separate discussions with representatives of the Bankers Association. When it comes to climate change and weather-related activities, timely information is critical to allow people to make informed decisions. That advice from Mr. Adrian Trotman, Chief of Applied Meteorology and Climatology at the Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology in Barbados. Mr. Trotman is on a brief visit to make a special presentation on governance of climate services delivery in Grenada.
What we also have to recognize is that when it comes to climate change, if we look at trends, one of the trends that we're pretty certain of is temperature. Okay? Straight away, what does that imply? Hotter days, hotter nights, right? More discomfort, more heat-related illnesses and inconveniences. And that alone, we recognize in the trend. And how do we work towards making sure that we can combat anything that could impact on human and the environment? And I gave you the example today of recognizing that the trends are there, and the upward trend in temperature has already been more or less illustrated. Then why wait?
This is the National Report. We'll have more news after the break.
The safety on our roads make this a major priority. Health of our people, a crucial necessity. Accidents happen when road users are either irresponsible or inconsiderate in one way or the other. Play your part. Reduce your speed. Be attentive. It is your personal responsibility. Let 2017 be the start of no more road fatalities. Be safe, be seen, be smart. So let's wise up as a nation, get to your destination, say.
Welcome back. The Ministry of Social Development says Grenada's juvenile rehabilitation system is successfully fulfilling its mandate in society. That's according to Permanent Secretary Veronica Charles during a press conference on Tuesday. The Ministry of Social Development is hosting a delegation from the Ministry of Social Justice in St. Lucia, which is on island, to adopt components of Grenada's SEED program and juvenile justice system in its quest to remodel its social services programs. PS Veronica Charles said since the establishment of the rehabilitation and treatment facility at Grand Bacalet in 2016, there has been many success stories.
It is only last month there was a training, a forum in Guyana, and one of our students who would have gone through the program at Bacalet, he represented Grenada in Guyana. And the feedback we had is that this child would have brought them to tears, the whole forum, because, you know, he was able to explain what he would have learned and how the system at Bacalet would have changed his life.
She spoke of the ministry's intention to seek an extension of residents' stay at the facility to allow them to complete programs. The extension will be outside of the court order and with the consent of the parents.
There are some children, because they came from dysfunctional families, they want to remain at the center. They do not want to go back home. Yeah, we've had, and we're working now with the authorities to see how we can create some sort of agreement that these children will be able to remain, if it's for a month or two, to finish their program, because you can't hold them beyond, you know, the time that the court would have given them to stay. But if we could have agreements with parents so they will be able to finish their education, finish whatever programs they are involved in at the center. And we've seen more and more of this happening.
And finally, the Grenada Cultural Foundation and Spice Mass Corporation has both endorsed one of the newest events on the 2019 Spice Mass calendar, dubbed I Am Mass. The official launch of I Am Mass took place on Wednesday at the Grenada National Stadium. Marcus Laverman James, well-known Grenadian soca artist for over 13 years, is the brand ambassador of I Am Mass, an event geared at revamping the Laverman brand and staging the first ever Laverman Fest on Saturday, July 6, 2019 at the Grenada National Stadium. I Am Mass seeks to incorporate several aspects of culture, including traditional mass, as a build-up to the events of the 2019 Spice Mass calendar. CEO of Spice Mass, Kelvin Jacobs, in endorsing the event, says his vision for harnessing the traditional mass and the efforts of stakeholders and promoters are key.
One of my visions for Spice Mass is the revitalization of the traditional mass, and also the partnerships with the various private promoters for Spice Mass. Because at the end of the day, when we look at the product that we want to create for Spice Mass, we cannot just look at the activities of Spice Mass Corporation. Because when we look at Carnival as a product, it is truly a partnership between the private promoters and the Spice Mass Corporation. And being my passion being a lot for the revitalization of our traditional mass, I really and truly endorse this initiative this morning here by the company to partnership and help us as Spice Mass to promote the traditional mass. So once again, I would like to thank you for the opportunity for having us here. Thank you for getting Spice Mass on board. Thank you for partnering with us, and thank you for helping us to push the traditional mass. And I truly, on behalf of Spice Mass, endorse this initiative.
Shobo Wells, CEO of the Grenada Cultural Foundation, is happy with the incorporation of the traditional mass, which is dying, and the overwhelming support of the Grenada Cultural Foundation.
I'm extremely pleased to see and hear an organization like this speaking about our traditional mass. Most times you hear promoters, artists, it's about fancy mass. Mass to the larger population of Grenada is about fancy mass. Today I'm witnessing some presence being given to our traditional mass. We all understand that we've been losing it. The wild Indian is almost gone. We have been in dialogue with Mr. Wayne Green, and we're very pleased to endorse this product and support it to the fullest. We're not an organization with a lot of money, but we have a lot of capabilities, talents, negotiating skills, etc. And we're fully in support of moving this motion and ensuring that I Am Mass is a reality.
The creation of a website for the I Am Mass was conceptualized by Laverman, where patrons can access the I Am Mass page, events, music, merchandise of I Am Mass, and home-based brand sponsors, and the library of his career and accomplishments over the years. That story just ended the national report for today, Wednesday, February 13th. Recapping the top story. High-level IMF team commends Grenada for prudent fiscal management. On behalf of all those who made this newscast possible, I am Rikisha St. Louis saying thank you for joining us. Until next time.
With all that's happening with the new national party, NNP. Send us a message via text or WhatsApp on 405-8683 with your name, email, and constituency. Stay in the know with NNP. Get updated.